Paul Jacobs, congratulations. I just was listening to this amazing new recording out of music with Edgar Varese and these wonderful American works by Lou Harrison. And I guess my first obvious question would be, it's awesome, I'm sure, to work with the San Francisco Symphony, but this is an unusual concerto because it's for a percussion orchestra.
It's unusual for percussion orchestra and to have a 20th century organ concerto, so we get a double whammy with this one. It is a lot of fun, and to play with world-class musicians, to play with MTT, who knew Harrison and is quite an expert on American music. All the stars were in alignment, it came together, and it was just a memorable experience.
There are sections that I imagine are fairly strict, and then I think there are sections that sort of have this groove sometimes. And is that, for me, when I play with percussionists, I'm always a little scared, that I'm not going to be as rhythmic. Were there sections, I mean, because it's Harrison, but are there sections that sort of grooved, or were there lots of sort of metric things that happened?
Well, when you think of how much rep the symphony and MTT went through in a relatively short time, it's quite amazing. And we were grooving without any trouble in a relatively short time. Little rehearsal, I would say, but these are such professionals that obviously there was no problem at all. The real challenge for an organist is to play an instrument that often speaks a little bit late, and when you're trying to synchronize with such precision the rhythm of the organ and these percussionists, that was tricky. That was tricky in a few spots, because what I as an organist would see didn't necessarily jive with what the organ delivered back and from what I felt. So you have these three senses of sight, hearing, and touch that were not exactly in alignment. So that took some getting used to, particularly on the Davies organ, which I enjoy playing very much. I've played many times on that instrument. But this work presented some unique challenges.
Yeah, I bet. And then you guys went on tour with this as well. So that probably, were there any crazy mirrors you had to fix on, or did they have any cool video iPad sort of things that went on to get things through?
Well, sometimes we will put up a camera system, and that enables me to just look forward and see the conductor. But really, that was only done in San Francisco. We took it to Ann Arbor, the University of Michigan, in Hill Auditorium, and that's a very different organ from the Rufati at Davies. We had a good time there, a wonderful experience, but we didn't even get a chance to rehearse the piece through. It was just, sink or swim. And I think we swam quite well. The audience loved it. And finally, we ended up on the East Coast at Carnegie Hall. And Carnegie, where we performed it in Zenkel, does not have an organ. So we brought in an electronic instrument and did it there. So three totally different experiences, but all great fun. And they were successful, each and every one.
Yeah. Is it one of those things that you now look back at the recording and think about those performances and think, oh yeah, things groove here, and I felt really nice about this, or maybe I would have changed this here and there? Are there's sort of things, because I imagine you think about those sort of things even when you record Bach and play Bach and that sort of thing. But with Harrison, did that happen?
Oh yes. I think that's a never-ending process, and there are always things that we tweak and change a little bit. And organists have got to be so versatile, just given the nature of the instrument. But the most important thing is to derive a lot of joy from these experiences, and I certainly did. Harrison's music, it puts a smile on your face.
Yeah, I think I'm very familiar with the violin concerto that he did, with also sort of a percussion quartet, and I think it's so creative to have this sort of very melodic instrument. I mean, this is the king of instruments, as Mozart calls it. And to have these instruments that we normally think of very rhythmic. Now,
Yes.
they obviously have melody and whatnot, but in this piece, I think it really, was that more pressure sometimes that, man, I'm it? Or is it kind of, like, oh, phew, I've got the lines. Are there contrasts? Do you think about those sort of things when you approach this piece?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, I would say that every musician, every percussionist, and the organist gets a workout with this. There's nobody that can hide or meld into a larger group. It's a very exposed piece of music. So it felt like a piece of chamber music, really, even though the decibel power of a large percussion ensemble and organ in full tilt, it made a racket.
Yeah. Were there parts where, like, okay, well, we didn't plan for that? Were there any retakes on that sort of volume sort of thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, little experiences that happen in all kinds of performances we have to do over again. But there weren't too many of those.
Yeah. Well, it's got this great piano concerto on it, it's got this wonderful organ concerto and this huge orchestra piece by Varese on it. It's a nice recording, and I have to say congratulations. It's a really nice release.
Thanks, John. I'm really excited about it.